Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Profiting with Nonprofits, the podcast that sits down and has great conversations with all the people in the nonprofit space that you probably never heard of, probably never see, because they're behind the scenes doing all the work that makes the organization go. And today we're sitting down with a lovely guest of mine. She booked through us, and we must have met somewhere along the line. Her name is Chandra Orrill, and she runs an organization called RethinkingLearning.com. Now, Rethinking Learning is an educational organization. She's going to talk more about it. They've been around now for about 3 years, and they're starting to grow, and they're starting to grow fast. And I was so excited when she booked a call with me to come on this podcast because I love hearing everybody's stories, and I love breaking it down so you guys can hear these stories as well. Before we dive into the episode, this show is proudly sponsored by GiveSuite and our partners at Brave Hearts TV and a new brand. And if you'd like to learn more about GiveSuite, you can check out the link in the show notes. You can even try it out for free for 60 days, no holds barred, because GiveSuite's all about no limits. And especially when you're running and growing an organization, you don't want to be limited by trials and tribulations and headaches. So try out GiveSuite for free, 60 days. It's all yours. Enjoy, have fun. If you like it, you can buy it. If not, we became friends. And also, I want to make mention that we're putting on our big event coming up soon. Connection Fest is dropping June 9th. It's going to be the biggest virtual event in the nonprofit space. This is what I've been told so far with all the signups. And I'm going to drop a link to that as well on every page of this episode. So don't forget to sign up for Connection Fest. But as I say, no one cares about me. Let's talk about you. Chandra, what's good? Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. So what's your deal?
So Rethink Learning is an organization that is dedicated to bringing research to practice in education. We are educational researchers, but we are educational researchers who actually want to see change happen in classrooms and informal learning environments, anywhere where people are learning. We want to see the best practices come to life. So,
Nice.
So we started with the goal of bringing what we know about teaching and learning to everybody, because when I go into classrooms and I see they look and feel the same as they did when I was in school, I know that we haven't made the difference that we need to make.
Nice. So what prompted you to start the organization? You started this, or you're just brought in as the executive director?
I was brought in as the executive director. The founder of the organization is an entrepreneur who has started several organizations, the largest of which is a for-profit company called Eduscape that does a lot of professional development work with teachers. And he and I met around 2018 or so and shared a vision about how school could be. And I hit a point in my academic career. I was a faculty member. I went through all the ranks of academia. I've been a department chair. I've been a director of a center on campus. I just felt like I wasn't making the impact that I wanted to make. And so I reached out to him and said, you have a nonprofit and I have grant writing skills. Should we see what we can do together? And that's how I became the executive director of Rethink Learning.
That's really awesome. That's really awesome. So what do you guys do? Like, what are some of the things that you do to help within the schools? Because I know that the school system is very fragmented and there's lots of things. I mean, even when I was in school, and I'm 36, like when I was in high school and elementary school, like the school system is very fragmented and you know, the stuff that they're teaching you, like, honestly, I didn't ever think when I was going to need to learn like the type of math they were teaching us and things like that. I mean, I'm a marketer, I'm a creative. When am I going to learn, like, use advanced trigonometry in my everyday life? And the truth is, the only class that I ever found was useful, well, there were two, but it was called Basic Math, and I actually failed that, and it's the one I still use today, like writing checks and doing like all the basic, like you know, ledgers and accounting and things like that. That's the stuff I use today. But everything else, I was like, what the hell am I doing? So, how do you guys make a difference? Like, what's the shift?
So we do a variety of different things to try to make changes. We work with teachers in professional development, particularly in math. And when we work with those teachers, it's great. You're exactly right. The two things that I hear the most from people when I tell them I'm a math educator is, number one, I must be a math genius, which I am not. I do 3rd to 8th grade math primarily. I'm not a math genius. And the second thing is, I hated math. So your story is actually better than most because you had a good math experience. But what we try to do is help people understand what could be when we do professional development. So we have teachers working what are called open, middle, or open-ended problems, which are problems that have either more than one way to get to the end or more than one right answer. We have
Hmm.
them, we try to engage them in playful banter about mathematics. So we've learned that if you don't ask super precise questions, it leaves a little bit of ambiguity and it makes problems much more interesting. So if you ask, if you have a certain amount of fencing and you want to build the biggest pen for your puppy, there's one right answer for biggest. But if you want to build the best pen for your puppy, then it depends. Like, do you want space for the puppy to play like a square? Do you want space for the puppy to run like a straight line? Like, what's the best pen for your
Hmm.
puppy? Suddenly we have something we can talk about and argue about and make sure that we're actually understanding the mathematics behind it. So that's the
That's
kind of
really
things.
interesting.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And teachers, we've borrowed from Seymour Papert, who was a genius at MIT for many years. He coined the term hard fun, and that's where we aim with our teachers, is we want them to have hard fun when they work with us. Um, and then when we work with kids, we try to bring the same kinds of things to them. So a couple examples, we're working in an informal learning space. So boys and girls clubs,
Oh,
informal visits to, there's going to be an exhibit in Philadelphia called Math Malchemy it's a traveling exhibit. Some of your listeners may have seen it at some point. We're creating some activities to go with that so that when people go visit it, they can actually engage with some of the mathematics that's being shown in it. So one of the things is there's a quilt that's all about cryptography, and we're doing Caesar cipher decoders, which if you think way back to decoder rings where you set one letter to
hmm.
another letter, that's a Caesar cipher. Today's kids haven't seen those. And to help them understand that when we talk about computers encoding things and you have to, encrypt things, that's what we're talking about. Encryptions now, of course, are much more advanced than Caesar ciphers, but that's where it starts. So we're just
This
trying to
is so
give,
interesting.
yeah, all kinds of experiences that are hands-on, minds-on, and opening doors so that kids can be like, oh, this is cool. I want to learn more about this.
But that's how it's supposed to be. I feel like that's how it's supposed to be in education is like when you're doing in general, like it's all about the experience. It's all
Hmm.
about like everything's about the experience, the customer experience, the fan experience, the educational experience. So that way it sticks with you instead of sitting at a desk and saying, okay, we're going to do problems 1 through 10 now, pull out your books. Like, oh crap, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And I like what you're saying about how you're transforming the question of, if I want to, when you're talking about area and surface area, and being like, well, we want to make the best. So, what's the case? What's the
Hmm.
situation? What's the scenario? And I feel like when kids start to ask and engage in that way, then they're more likely to do something. And then that also sparks, if you're looking at the long term goal and like the lifetime value of it, that sparks, hey, wait a minute, those kids interested in this because we talked about this problem. He might be continuing on to maybe become an engineer, maybe becoming a contractor, something like that,
Hmm.
because that experience, that first experience and that impression was laid on him, and now it's something for the future.
Right. Right. It falls into the whole idea of you can't be what you can't see. And we want every child to be able to see themselves in my metaphor is I want to open all the doors for the kids so that when they're adults, they can decide which ones they want to close. Because when you're 12, when you're 8, when you're 14, you can't make good decisions about which doors you want to go through or not. So I want them all open until you're an actual adult and can make the decision for yourself about what you want to do.
No, that's really amazing. And like I said, I think that it's the bigger picture of it is that you're showing them and giving them this experience of, well, math can actually be fun. It's not just, function statistics and trigonometry, which I hated. And I don't understand why I took that. But it's like it's stuff that can be fun. And then, like I said, you lead to that gateway of what can I do with this in the future, as opposed to, oh crap, I just did this and I don't want to do this anymore.
Right, right. Well, and one of the things that we're trying to do when we think of specifically in our work on math, we're trying to think about cross-cutting ideas so that we quit siloing math, so that we're not saying, well, this is geometry and this is trigonometry and this is algebra. So we're trying to look at these cross-cutting ideas like in a variance, what varies and what doesn't vary. in a problem, because that carries across all the fields of math. So one of the things we do is work with proportions, and we ask questions about what stayed the same, what changed. Because that's an idea that if a student learns to ask themselves that as they go through all the areas of math, through anything, through college math, it's going to help them every step of the way understand what's happening in this mathematics.
No, that's very cool. And so how have you seen the successes with this? What's your success rate? What do you gauge as the success rate with these programs that you're doing?
So our work so far, on our research projects, of course, we have traditional measures of success. We do assessments, we ask surveys about satisfaction, all of the things that you would expect out of high quality research. When we're doing what I'll call our field work, we're looking for the number of kids who are engaged, the number of people who are engaged. We're looking at, do they want us to come back? Things like that are our engagement. And so far, we've never lost a partner, which I think is fantastic. And, the only thing that's holding us back is funding, which I think is the normal story of nonprofits. Like,
Yes.
everybody's excited. We have a preschool program running in Seattle. We have our director of STEM education lives in Seattle, and she has a preschool program running where she's integrating STEM ideas in with reading. So they read books together to the kids, and then the kids get to experience a scientific idea from that book. Whether it's finding out about different kinds of soil, or learning how the wind works by playing with pinwheels, or learning about the northern lights by painting northern lights on paper. They're having this very early STEM experience. And we would love to be able to spread that wider, because we know that preschool is such an amazing time to capture these students. But yeah, it all comes back to funding and our capability. We're a small organization still.
No, that's really cool. I mean, wow. So the biggest question is, how do the parents feel about all this?
So we had a really cool opportunity recently to work with the parents of some third graders. And they came in, and the third graders, we had worked with the third graders in their classes, and then they came in and we had a parents activity. And the parents they started out just watching their kids. And by the end, most of the parents were like sitting next to their kids doing the math with them, which is really exciting. And we were able to give them some of the math games to take home and do at home with their children, which is fantastic, because now their kids are going to get more experience and more practice.
That's really awesome. So now you're getting the parents involved. The parents are loving it. So now the kids are going to like it because kids learn by example. That's really amazing.
Right.
Do you guys only focus on math?
No, we do. We focus on math, science, and computer science. So most of the STEM disciplines. Within computer science, we've done computational thinking, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. Again, looking at that K-8 window. So we're talking about getting these kids when they're young and just giving them life skills is the way I think about it. Like, nobody who is a child right now is going to be able to live without having good cybersecurity skills. So we're giving them life skills in addition to opening doors for them.
Well, I was going to say, because everyone's talking about AI and AI replacing people's jobs, but I say that's rubbish, because you still have to be the person who knows how to run the prompts and knows how to work with the AI. So how are you guys doing that in terms of training kids on different models and different systems with the AIs?
So most of our work comes before that. So we're training kids on the things that they don't understand about AI. So we've done some activities in middle school with students around AI, and we've learned that they don't understand very basic things. Like, they don't understand that training AI means that somebody is sitting behind a computer all day long going, dog, tree, car, dog. They don't understand that that's what training means, and that if you train it wrong, it's just going to be wrong. And so a lot of our activities are around these very basic ideas that are divorced from the actual AI platforms, just so they can understand what people are even talking about when they talk about AI. The other thing we've done with them with AI is have them use robots as autonomous vehicles, and have them think about, like, okay, so if this is an autonomous vehicle and somebody cracks into it, and hijacks it, what could happen? Or
Wow.
if you're in a city and somebody takes over the traffic lights, what's going to happen? So that they can start thinking about the consequences of these kinds of things.
Oh, wow. So it's not just like here's Claude, go play with it. It's like
Right.
these are bigger, bigger infrastructural issues. And that's so cool because now you're taking it on a deeper level of like you're doing that problem solving with the mathematics into this and then teaching them how to those problem solving skills and critical thinking skills of like, wait a minute, how do we solve this problem if X happens?
Right. Right. And we're trying to help them think critically, because I think in an age of AI, that's what we need. Everybody needs
Hmm.
to know that we have agency and we are allowed to think critically about what the AI is giving us. It doesn't have to be that the AI is speaking truth, because we all know AI does not speak truth all the time.
No, for sure. It's really interesting. So in terms of like your demographic of students, do you find more boys or girls gravitating towards certain tracks? Like where do you feel like the demographics are hitting?
We have been very fortunate to have a really good balance.
Hmm.
When we work with kids, we try to be very mindful of bringing all the students in to what we're doing, and we try to create entry points for all the students. And we've had really good luck with boys and girls both staying very involved. At the Boys and Girls Club, um, it's a drop-in program. So the kids
Right.
come to your room if they want. And if they don't want, they don't. And we still
Right.
kept a pretty good balance of boys and girls when we were doing robotics with them. And at the end of the year, they had a talent show. And one of the talent show activities that we did was working with the technology person at the Boys and Girls Club. They programmed the robots to dance to, I think, Twist and Shout. And
Hmm.
the original, I think it was the original Twist and Shout. It was an oldie,
Hmm.
right? Um, and we had as many girls participate in that as boys. And that was even with them having a lot of other options that were more girl typical, like being in the dance line or doing art activities. And some of ours did both, right? Which is great to see them
Right.
do a piece of art and program the robot was fantastic.
No, that's really cool. This sounds like an awesome program. And the fact that you've got it going on, you just need, the funding issue. That's
Hmm.
really, really cool. And so I'm happy we talked before the show because I think that GiveSuite actually could help you with a lot of this stuff too. And this is not a product plug for GiveSuite, but I think based on what you're telling me, like I think we could help you out with a lot of stuff. But I just love what you're doing. What's the overall goal of the organization? Like what's the um in terms of growth?
Um, so we would like to grow in two ways. And I my personal value is to grow both of these at once. I would like us to both grow deeper roots in our own communities. We live in
Hmm.
the South Coast. We're based in the South Coast of Massachusetts, which is an area that has two of the larger cities in Massachusetts that are both economically challenged in a variety of ways. And that means their education system comes with all of those expected challenges as well. And so I would like us to grow much longer roots into those two communities. At the same time, I'd also like to see us become a national organization. We're working on some initiatives that I think are going to help us in that direction. We're working on an initiative that should be premiering sometime this summer that is mathparents.org, which is going to be a website
Nice.
designed to support parents in helping their kids with math. We want to help the people who are like, I can't do math, see that they not only
Yeah.
can do math, but they can understand it.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
Yeah. And then we're also creating a financial literacy website, which is, oh geez, I think it's dollarsmart.org. That is
Wow.
going to be financial literacy that is based on real numbers. So when I go to financial literacy materials that are online, a lot of them are very cute. They're certainly all very well intentioned, but they use these numbers that I don't think people can relate to. They're like, if you make $100,000 a year and you get 10% interest, that, well, yeah, those are all nice, easy numbers. What if I make $43,297 a year and I get 3% interest? Like those
Mm.
are much messier numbers. How do I deal with that? Well,
Right.
there's ways we can deal with that. And we can look at real banks and the real rates that they offer. And we can look at like is it worth it to get free checking? What is the benefit? What is the trade-off? Is it worth it to get a payday loan? What is the benefit? What is the trade-off? We're going to have things like that built into that program.
That's really awesome. So I guess as we wrap up this podcast, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to get into your role, get into your space, from your experience and your background? How can it benefit them for their success in the nonprofit world?
So the thing that I have learned over the past 3 years is that there are so many incredible organizations out there that want to help nonprofits succeed. And I wish I had known that when I started. So I would say, start with the National Nonprofit Network and work your way down into your own area, because there are so many people and organizations that want to help you succeed.
Cool. Well, Chandra, it was great having you on the show. I really love what you guys are doing. And I'm going to drop all of our contact information into the video notes. You'll be able to get this on the page. They'll have the page up on the GiveSuite site as well and on the YouTube channel. So until then, I'll catch you guys on the next upload.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.